Number 16, Seven Senses of the Reunion. Studio, Lerkei. Director, Yoshito Nishoji. In the popular MMORPG world Union, there existed a legendary party named Subaru. This party, made up of a group of childhood friends and elementary schoolers, exceeded the limits of the game with their various senses. However, due to an incident which resulted in death, Union ended its service, and the group of childhood friends went separate ways. 6 years later, high schooler Haruto logged into the new reunion and reunited with a single girl, Asahi, one of the old Subaru party members, and his childhood friend who should have died 6 years ago. Is she a digital ghost, or... ... question mark? So, I actually think that this show looks like it could be very good. The early hype for it has said that it's almost like a combination of Anohana and Sword Art Online, and definitely I got a sense of that from the way that it was presented. Like, it looks like there's going to be some genuine pathos in this show, and a really, actual meaty story, rather than being just like a shallow empowerment fantasy. I was definitely interested in seeing where the plot's gonna go from the preview trailer. The character designs in the world look very pretty, and they're the kind that I would want to visit, and Studio Lerkei has been on a roll for the past few years, so I trust that they are going to keep producing amazing things, so I am definitely looking forward to this one. High expectations. Number 17, Baki. Studio, TMS Entertainment. Director, Toshiki Hirano. Baki Hanma trains with an intense focus to become strong enough to surpass his father, Yujiro Hanma, the strongest fighter in the world. 5 of the world's most violent and brutal death row inmates are gathering to face Baki. Their objective is to taste defeat. Their unmatched strength and skill have led them to grow bored of life itself, and now they seek out Baki in the hopes that he can overwhelm and utterly crush them. In this crisis, other underground martial arts warriors gather to fight by Baki's side, and an epic showdown between violent death row inmates and Baki and his friends begins. Alright, so I will be honest, this does not look like my kind of show, and that's pretty much where my criticisms both begin and end. It looks hyper-violent and bloody and unpleasant, and one of those, everyone is rivals with each other hyper-masculine shows where, there's no warmth or friendship, and that's kind of what keeps it down for me. But the animation style looks very unique, the animation's highly detailed, it's definitely got a plot and isn't just an exploitation project, so I am going to give the show a high expectation rating because it looks good, but I'm not expecting that I will personally like it, so I don't know. I guess I'm giving it a rating of moderate to high-ish. I'm kind of torn on it, whatever. We'll see. Number 18, The Master of Ragnarok and Blesser of Einherjar. Studio, EMT Squared. Director, Kosuke Kobayashi. Some urban legends are best left untested. Yu Tosuo gets more than he bargained for when he joins his childhood friend Mitsuki Shimoya in testing out an urban legend. When he uses his phone to take a picture of himself with the local shrine's divine mirror, he is whisked off into another world, one heavily steeped in the lore of Old Norse myths. Using his knowledge gained from school, and his solar-powered smartphone, he has the chance to bring the Wolf Clan, the same people who cared for him, to prominence, all while earning the adoration of a group of magic-wielding warrior maidens known as the Einherjar. So, the main thing about this trailer that kind of annoyed me, aside from the really ugly animation compositing, where it almost looked like all parts of this show were animated in different programs that were then, stitched together like some Frankenstein's monster, and they really do not mesh, is the way that it looks at its female characters. Sometimes you can tell just by looking at the way that the camera looks at its characters and the way those characters are drawn and posing that they are definitely not going to be active participants in the story. They're just kind of there to look pretty and be gawked at and look happy and starry-eyed at the camera, and this was definitely that case. So, The Master of Ragnarok gets a low expectation rating from me. I feel like you can definitely tell this is by a rookie director. Not much else to say, not really looking forward to this. Number 19, Chio School Road. Studio, Dio Medea. Director, Takeyuki Inagaki. This is the story of a nerdy bookworm girl on her way to school. And yes, that's the entire premise, as she's not getting to school any time, well, obviously not. Taking her usual route to school. Am I reading the right plot description? It becomes an increasingly unusual event. Oh, okay, I get it. It becomes an increasingly unusual adventure, and all the more ridiculous as it carries on. It takes an unpleasant sentiment many can emphasize with the feeling of tardiness, and brings humor to it, making it a hilarious situation to look back upon. Alright, so this looks creative. Some of these scenarios totally look like they are out of left field. I could not have seen any of these things coming when I read this plot description. So, this definitely looks like it's going to be interesting at the very least. The animation looks great, and the director isn't the worst. Like, he did direct Seiken Tsukai no World Break, but honestly that show's main problem was the writing, not the visuals. So, sure, I will be somewhat excited for this. It definitely looks original, at the very least, and that is saying a lot more than most of the shows that come across me on this list. Chio School Road, everyone. Watch it, I guess. Number 20. Harukana Receive. Studio, C2C. Director, Toshiyuki Kuboka. The story takes place in Okinawa, where Haruka forms a beach volleyball pair with Kanata. Kanata, who couldn't handle the pressure put on her by her short height, had given up beach volleyball already, but is convinced by Haruka to step back in the sand once again and aim for the junior tournament. And by the way, this is an ecchi show, and we all know what that means, if you'll permit me. Boobies, sirs and boobies, sets and boobies, sets and boobies, spikes and boobies, sticks and bikinis, sirs and boobies, bumps and boobies, sets and boobies, spikes and boobies, sticks and bikinis, sirs and boobies, bumps and boobies, sets and boobies, spikes and boobies. Beach volleyball and ecchi, everyone. A match made in heaven, apparently. So, to me, this preview is pretty unexciting. It just looks like your generic cute girls playing volleyball, and their determination is cute kind of show. Like, it's not necessarily going to be bad, but it just looks mediocre to me from these previews, and I really don't have much faith in the production staff. Like, it's a new animation studio, and a director has done, like, a couple okay things, so my love of the sport of volleyball is propping this up, but everything else, meh. So, neutral rating. Number 21, Backstreet Girls, Gokudolls. Studio, JC Staff. Director, Chiaki Kon. A group of 3 Yakuza have failed their boss for the last time. After messing up an important job, the boss gives them 2 choices. Either honorably commit suicide, or go to Thailand to get sex reassignment surgery in order to become female idols. After a gruesome year of training to become idols, they successfully debut with overwhelming popularity, much to their dismay. This is where their tragedy truly begins. This show looks like complete and utter garbage. God, where do I even start with this? The animation looks like ass. Like, absolutely nobody's face moves. It's just still frames with mouths. Secondly, it's an ecchi show, and that premise, oh god, this just sounds like lowest common denominator ecchi shit. And also, as a member of the LGBT community, the trans part of this show, don't even get me started on the horrible implications that could have. Like, I guess maybe if this show is funny, it could be okay, but I really haven't seen anything that looks promising. I am fully expecting to tear this show apart because it looks bad. Horribly bad. I don't even want to talk about this one. Just low expectation rating. I just pray that it's not as bad as it looks from this trailer. Let's move on. Number 22. Happy Sugar Life. Studio, Eloza. Director, Keizo Kusakawa. This is a shivering, pure love psycho horror story of a girl named Sato Matsuzaka, who has someone she likes. She experiences a sweet feeling when she sleeps with her, and thought it must be love. Everything will be forgiven as long as she protects this feeling, even if she tricks, commits crimes, steals, or even kills, she thought. So beyond the premise sounding kinda not my thing and the preview trailer looking very meh, the director of this show is Keizo Kusakawa. We have a bit of a history. been burned by you before, Keiso Kusakawa. I am not letting it happen again. Aside from that, he is working with a brand new studio. This is their very first anime production. So in addition to the issues that I have with the trailer looking kind of dark and grim, and the animation looking a little bit unpolished too, possibly problematic subject-wise, I definitely don't have much confidence at all in the production staff. So for me, I'm just going to stick with my moderate expectation rating, give it a neutral, and that's about where I'm at with this one. Number 23, Dropkick on My Devil. Studio, Nomad. Director, Hikaru Sato. Jashin-chan Dropkick is a violent slapstick comedy? Am I watching the right preview trailer? What's going on here? Oh. Well then, it was another fake-out trailer. Proceed. Jashin-chan Dropkick is a violent slapstick comedy about a delusional gothic Lolita, Yurine, who summons a demon girl with the tail of a cobra, Jashin-chan. They'll have to live together until Yurine finds a way to send Jashin-chan back to hell, or until Jashin-chan kills Yurine. Okay, so I know the actual premise of the anime wasn't spoiled until the last 10 seconds, but that was a pretty hilarious fake-out. You got me. This staff showed through this gorgeous animation that they are capable of greatness, and even though the thing was a giant cop-out for the sake of a good joke, it looks good. The only thing keeping my expectations low is the production staff. Like, this could be a lowest common denominator comedy like Comfort, which Hikaru Sato did direct 10 years ago. That show can burn in hell, but the potential to be funny is there, so a moderately positive expectation rating seems about right. Number 24. Asobi Asobase. Studio, Lerke. Director, Seiji Kishi. Hanako, an athletically proficient yet thick-headed student with a weird fashion sense, plays a game with the American transfer student Olivia. However, their vigor irritated their classmate Katsuki, who dislikes playing games since she's always been teased by her sister for being terrible at them. With the turn of events, it was found out that Hanako is terrible at English. Thus, she asked her foreign classmate Olivia to help her. But Olivia, who has only been born and raised in Japan with foreign parents, can't actually speak English at all. Watch over these three girls' surreal school life comedy. This preview trailer made me ponder one of life's great questions. How many crazy facial expressions can you possibly cram into one 2-minute trailer? Well, whatever the previous record is, this now has it. This show looks freaking hilarious! I have never seen so many over-the-top facial expressions in my entire life! This show just looks exactly like a comedy in the vein of some of my favorites like Azumanga Daioh and Nichijou in terms of pacing and just being ridiculous everyday nonsense. I laughed hysterically in this preview trailer, the characters look hilarious, and the reactions in the animation look top-notch for comedic timing. Seiji Kishi and Lerke definitely know what they're doing. I am expecting absolutely nothing but greatness here. Despite this being so low on the list, this is going to be my second very high expectation rating of the year. I don't see any conceivable way that I'm not going to love this show. Number 25. Lord of Vermilion, The Crimson King. Studio, Azrayad. Director, Eiji Suganuma. Hehe. Numa yeo Suganuma. Okay, anyway. Set in Tokyo, it is January 29th, 2030. High-frequency resonance is observed in the vicinity of Tokyo, and the red fog rolls into the city. Those who hear the sound, humans and animals alike, pass out, losing consciousness. 6 days later, after the incident, people wake up as if nothing happened, and life gradually returns to normal. However, since the event, some bizarre events start to happen. Young people start to become aware of themselves and release their power hidden in their blood, discovering themselves as vessels of wisdom blood. Together, being led by something unknown, they meet, communicate, and face the unavoidable circle of fate, sacrificing their own lives. So this one's actually going to be hard to quantify for me, just because there were almost no preview trailers of this show, and the ones I did find showed almost nothing. So this rating is completely based on me expecting pretty much all anime shows about CCGs to be kinda bad. I definitely remember Luck and Logic from a couple years ago, and ugh. Also, the studio and the director of this project have almost no experience, but it is a popular franchise, and there wasn't anything actively bad about what I saw, so sure, neutral expectation rating. Number 26. Angolmoi, Record of the Mongol Invasion. Studio, NAZ. Director, Takeyuki Kuriyama. The scary great king comes from the other side of the sea. The big incident, Genko, that shook medieval Japan is being drawn in an original way in this historical anime, along with the beginning of the samurai. So, when I first heard about this show, I was pretty much immediately ready to just write it off and give it a low expectation rating, because pretty much every single season that there's a samurai show on the list, it ends up being one of my least favorites. Case in point, Nobunaga Concerto and Sengoku Musou. But this one actually looks decent. You know, it's like the animation motion itself isn't that good, but it is very stylized. Like, it looks like something straight out of, like, a storybook. So, this is looking like one of the more stylistic historical dramas that I've seen, and that's enough to pull my expectation rating up a bit. So, the hype stays neutral for me just because the director and the studio haven't done that much good in the past, but me not giving the show a low expectation rating is a pretty big deal because of my past history with the samurai historical genre. But this looks okay. Number 27. We Rent Tsukumogami. Studio, Telecom Animation Film. Director, Masahiko Murata. This series is set during the Edo period in the Fukagawa ward of Old Edo. Because the area is prone to fire and flooding, residents rent everyday items like pots, futons, and clothing from shops instead of purchasing them, so as not to impede them when they flee. Obeni and Seiji, an older sister and younger brother, run one such rental shop, called Izumoya. However, mixed in with their inventory are Tsukumogami, objects that have turned into spirits after 100 years of existence. The siblings sometimes lend these sentient items to customers. Both Obeni and Seiji can see and talk to these spirits, and other Tsukumogami often come to the store after hearing of the famed siblings. So, when I first read this premise, I was actually pretty excited, because it reminded me of something, like, uniquely Japanese, kind of like Uchaten Kazoku, which was about tanuki and other transforming animals. This seems similar to that with its supernatural elements very steeped in Japanese mythology, but the trailer did not look very good. The motion of the characters looks very amateurish, and the studio making this is Telecom Animation Film, who has made so many of the worst anime shows that I've ever seen. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to just give this a neutral rating. I am interested in the premise, but I have zero faith that it can be executed well. Number 28. Phantom in the Twilight. Studio, Linden Films. Director, Mori Kunihiro. Set in modern-day London, the story takes place in a world where shadows are born from human fear and anxiety. A young girl arrives to study abroad only to be caught in a bizarre incident as she enters university. In a city with no acquaintances, the helpless girl wanders into Café Forbidden, a mysterious cafe that exclusively opens at midnight. She meets an assortment of handsome men employed at the cafe, where guardians who protect the boundary between humans and shadow convene. I'm about as excited as I'd expect for a vampire show. Those are 11 words that I definitely expected to hear come out of my mouth, and yeah, show looks good. The animation in this preview trailer looked pretty good. There's some nice polish on it and some nice After Effects details. The director does have some decent credits to his resume, and the premise sounds like it could be interesting, so while I'm not quite as excited for this one as for Sirius the Jaeger, I am more positive than negative about what I've seen so far, so yeah. I will definitely count myself moderately excited for this one. Check it out on Crunchyroll. Number 29. Planet With. Studio, JC Staff. Director, Yohei Suzuki. Soya Kuroi is a high schooler living a peaceful life despite having no memories of his past. One day, however, his town is attacked by one of the mysterious nebula weapons. Together with the cat-like Sensei and the gothic Lolita Ginkgo, Soya gets dragged into battle against 7 superheroes who protect the town. What is Soya's reason to fight? The answer lies in his memories. I, for one, welcome our new robot cat overlords. So, this seems like a pretty typical shonen mech kind of show. Like, the premise seems very simple, the animation looks like it's on a kind of budget, and shonen shows for me tend to focus a little bit too much on the action and not enough on the emotional drama, but maybe I'm being too harsh on this. It looks okay. It's not like the trailer looked bad or anything, just maybe a bit generic. So, I will give it a chance and reserve judgment. Could be good or bad. The director has some okay credits, so neutral rating. We'll see. Number 30. 100 Sleeping Princes in the Kingdom of Dreams. Studio, Project Number 9. Director, Yukina Hiro. The heroine is a normal girl, until one day she's invited to another world and becomes the princess of the dream world, where people use dreams as the energy to live. One day, the dream world is being attacked by something called Yumekui, Dream Eater, and many princes are being attacked by it. The heroine must wake them to save the dream world, as the princes are unable to wake due to having their dreams stolen. So you know how I ragged on the Master of Ragnarok for having very passive-looking female characters who just had that "I'm here to serve you" look in their eye? Well, this is the male version of that. These are all princely dudes who are like, "How may I be of service to you, Ohime-sama?" Swoon! Yeah, this kind of show. I feel like it's very clear from this preview trailer that this is just a reverse harem shoujo game where the only point is that there's a bunch of hot dudes all vying for your affection, oh self-insert female main character. These shows are consistently neglected by the animation studio that's making them, and this animation studio, project number 9, is actively horrible. Momokyun Sword was garbage. Don't ever watch it. So in addition to the plot just sounding like a crappy self-insert fantasy, just like the kind that I harp on with the Battle Academy shows, the production staff is bad. No way I'm looking forward to this. Low expectation rating. Number 31, The Thousand Musketeers. Studio, TMS Entertainment. Director, Kenichi Kasai. Despair War is the battle between ancient guns and contemporary guns. Due to a nuclear war, the world was destroyed. Under the full governance of a world empire, people are living with their freedom taken. Despite the forbidden rule of owning any weapon— oh my god, I don't know where this is going. Despite the forbidden rule of owning any weapons, there is a resistance that secretly fights against the world empire. They own ancient guns left as art and fight using these. Then the Kijushi appear as the souls of the ancient guns. Proud and magnificent, the absolute royal are the only ones that can give hope to this world. The story depicts the everyday life of the Kijushi. Okay, this show, the everyday life of high school guns. Oh, imagine this show with like a moe motif and the guns with like cute moe eyes and being like, it's not like I want you to fire me or anything. Baka! Okay, I'm gonna stop. Laughter, despair, happiness, confusion, pain. They would still pursue their own absolute loyalty to fights. What do they fight for? What should they protect? Freedom! You ain't taking our guns, stupid government! Alright, so in case it's not obvious from my little riffing there, I am not a fan of this premise. It sounds problematic as hell, and guns just are not something that I'm personally interested in. Also, this preview trailer looks awful. There's like no variation in pose or emotion, the character designs are unappealing and flat, and it just looks really over-serious and ugh. If it were not for the director attached to this project, I would be giving this a low rating for sure. But Kenichi Kasai, he directed Honey and Clover, Bakuman, and Love Stage, and Nodame Cantabile. All of those shows are incredible, so even though this preview trailer looks and sounds awful, I have to give it a chance because the director knows what the hell he's doing. I don't know. Move on to the next one. I'm just gonna burn myself out with this. Number 32, Ongaku Shoujo, Music Girls. Studio, Dean. Director, Yukio Nishimoto. There are 11 girls that consist the C-Class Ongaku Shoujo idol unit under Pine Records. Despite generating red sales marks and not being very popular, producer Ikebashi and the members are trying their very best to up their levels. Nevertheless, Ikebashi suggests recruiting a new member for Ongaku Shoujo, someone who can act as a catalyst for the success of the group. Thus, an audition is opened, leading to the soon-to-be legendary group's meeting of a girl named Hanako. So, this is yet another genre that almost always immediately gets a negative expectation rating for me, just because idol shows tend to be the most predictable, boring, always the same shows in all of anime. But I really can't find it in myself to hate on this too much. These characters are beautiful. I love their hairstyles, their earrings, all the little details in their appearance that actually make them characters that I would like to emulate. Also, because this story is a very underdog story revolving around a group that's not doing very well instead of like a rise to stardom type story, that makes it more interesting to me. I watched the Idolmaster Cinderella Girls back in the winter of 2015. God, I'm talking about that anime season a lot. And the one plotline of that show that really did it for me was the main one involving this group that was not very popular. I like the adversity stories, so there is a chance that I can actually enjoy this, so neutral expectation rating. Number 33, Shoujo Kageki Revue Starlight. Studio, Kinema Citrus. Director, Tomohiro Furukawa. Starlight is a song and dance revue troupe loved throughout the world. Karen and Hikari make a promise with each other when they're young that one day they will stand on that stage together. Time passes, and now the girls are 16 years old. Karen is very enthusiastic about the lessons she takes every day, holding her promise close to her heart. Hikari has transferred schools and is now away from Karen, but the cogs of fate turn and the two are destined to meet again. The girls and the other stage girls will compete in a mysterious audition process to gain acceptance into the revue. Ugh, this trailer. Too much moe. God, the first half of this trailer is nothing but every infantized moe girl cliche in the book. Ugh. It lost me completely and then abruptly pulled me right back in once the actual performance started. All of a sudden, the animation looked freaking gorgeous, the camera angles and the drama suddenly looked amazing, so what I've ended up with hype-wise is kind of half amazing. The thing that tips the scale for me is that this is being made by Kinema Citrus. They are definitely one of the best upstart studios coming up through the anime industry. They have been on a roll for the past few years. Also, the director, Tomohiro Furukawa, was the assistant director of a show that I will be talking about a lot in the future, Yurikuma Arashi, which, yes, is one of my favorite anime shows of all time. So, immediately I am going with the benefit of the doubt and assuming that this is going to be good. So, yeah, Shoujo Kageki Revue Starlight, I am moderately excited. Hopefully it will be good and not just lowest common denominator moe blah. Alright, we're finally to the last show. Number 34, Aguu Genius Dolls. Studio Dean. Director Bob Shirohata. Wow, this plot description is short. Well, we'll be done quickly then. This series is about a missing genius whose mysterious disappearance becomes a shady secret among the successful members of society. And that's it. That's all I've got. Just from this preview trailer, this show looks really ugly, badly animated, grotesque, over-sexualized, unpleasant, uncomfortable in tone. There is literally nothing about this preview trailer that I actively liked. Bob Shirohata has done a couple good projects in the past, so this isn't going to merit a very low rating, but it still looks bad. So bad that not a single American simulcast site has even bothered to pick this show up. You're going to have to go through fan subs to get it. But I'll be covering it anyway, and I'm not expecting to like it. And we're done! Whew! We made it! That was all 34 shows that are going to be premiering this season that are original. We do have some sequel shows also, like Attack on Titan Season 3, but I'm not going to be covering that in this anime derby. I'm going to leave that for the professional anime YouTubers. But in any case, that was it. Let's look at the leaderboard so we can see a summary and all of my hype rankings can be compiled. Shows that I am most excited for at the top, shows that I am least excited for at the bottom. And with that said, I will see you guys in a few weeks where we will do a complete rundown of all my first impressions. I'm also going to vlog after every episode, which isn't the official ratings, but it's just my thoughts immediately after watching it. See you guys then!